welcome to High Flyers, the show that gives you a 360-degree view of Asia's business elite. Today we meet an entrepreneur in the fields of coal and gold. He's built his company from the ground up or down and has created a reputation for efficient and often innovative mining. Let's meet Peter Bond.
Hard work was never a question for this businessman. He started by picking up coal from the rubbish bin and separating it by hand into different grades. 20-hour workdays were not rare, but that paid off. Peter Bond became a millionaire by 26 and played a key role in evolving Linc Energy from a small business into an ASX 200 company. This high flyer joins us on the Singapore Flyer to tell us how he keeps pushing the boundaries.
Peter Bond, welcome to High Flyers. As a young man, you were pretty hungry. You were trying to make a few bucks. You made more than just a few bucks. Why coal? Why did you think coal was gold?
Well, you end up becoming a reflection of your environment. I grew up in a country town, but we had coal mines nearby. My father was in trucks. He was a truck driver, and he had a few pieces of equipment, and he had a lot of involvement with the coal. He cut in coal, etc. I then got a traineeship with BHP, where I was working with coal washeries and materials handling, a little bit of mining, and I guess I sort of fell into it, for lack of a better word. It was what was available. When I was about 23, I'd left BHP. I was contracting. I had nothing, a year.
And you didn't finish your internship?
I did not finish. No, that's correct. I still have to go back. And there's like 1,000 tons of rubbish coal that somebody said, you can have if you can clean it up. So I literally shoveled it and raked it clean and sold it, and I made $17,000 in a month.
A process called screening?
Yes, just screen it, get out of the rubbish. And I sold it to a brick plant and made, like I said, about $17,000 for the month. And it was 1985, and I just thought, this is what I want to do. It's, I can make money. I can always sell it. It's simple, it's easy, I love it, and that's how I got into it.
But you worked really long hours. You put it in, 20-hour days,
yeah.
30, 40 consecutive days without a break.
Yeah, well, I was hungry.
You were driven.
I was driven. I really wanted to get on with it. I could see an opportunity, so I wanted to grab the opportunity, make the most of it. So whenever it existed, I would just throw whatever I had at it. And it's one of those things when you're young, you don't really know what you're good at. You have a sense that you're strong at this and weak at that. But what I knew my ability to work hard and my ability to stay focused were two strengths that I had. So I would just drive with those for as long as I could. It wasn't until later in life that I realised that I actually had vision to join all these dots that other people in the room couldn't see. That came later, that you understand that. But certainly in the early days, just work hard, stay focused was the mantra.
And also when you were young, you were set on being one of the richest. You were constantly looking at the list, the rich list in Australia.
I was, yeah. You've got to have something to aim for, and a lot of those people I admired and thought, okay, if I can copy this or use that, then that I can bring those skills together, and each step was another step towards my goal, and you're never really sure whether you're going to ever end up on a rich list or whatever, but you're better off for it. I'm a better man, and my company's better, and everything else ends up being better for just keep trying, and I guess that was a lot of the logic in the early days.
One key move you made was to buy Linc Energy. You bought it for $1, on the verge of bankruptcy. Did that make sense? Essentially,
what it was about was it had a couple of coal assets, and it had a technology which was underground coal gasification, UCG. And I'd been in mining, and I'd sold out and retired and came back again. So I retired at 39, and I'd come back and
18 months later, you were unretired.
Yeah, unretired. And I'd bought a gold mine that was actually gone broke, and I turned it around and sold it. And did quite well out of that. And so I do have an ability to turn things around and get them going again. And I saw Linc and thought, you know what, I see so much wasted coal, so much wasted opportunity that the technology made sense. Now, there are lots of holes in the business, which is why it was broke, but I just saw something in it that was worth trying, so that's why I bought it.
Isn't it true that when you first made your money, you were pretty uncomfortable with your wealth? You bought a new car and you weren't willing to let your friends know that it was a new car. You wanted to keep it hidden.
Well, yeah, I mean,
in a way.
Yes, that's true. I mean, again, country town, grew up with your friends. You didn't want to be overly boastful or exaggerate. So it took a while to become comfortable with the steps of success. But
What did you do? You bought a new car and you...
Well, I had two identical utes. One I'd bought about...
Utes would be utility vehicle.
Like a pickup truck, four-wheel drive. I had two four-wheel drives. I bought one, it was about 18 months old. I didn't like it anymore, so I replaced it. I thought, I better replace it with the identical one, same paint and everything. And then I thought, well, I'll take the wheels off that one and put it on the new one and so on. So it looked like the same vehicle. And it was just me saying, you know what, I didn't want a big note myself. I mean, there was a reason why I bought the new cars, and I just didn't want to have to get into explaining it. But yeah, I mean, as you mature and as your friends mature, it's less of an issue.
How do you view your journey from when you made your first 17,000 to now being one of the richest in Australia?
I think the important thing is that it's an interesting journey and it's something you enjoy. If there's one fault that I beat myself up about is I need to enjoy the journey more. I need to grasp and just love the journey more.
Haven't you? Were you so caught up in the journey, in your goals and your ambitions?
It's a bit like being on a roller coaster ride and you're constantly just running the same roller coaster ride. You don't get to see the rest of the park. You're just constantly riding the ride. And you do tend to get tied up in what you're doing because I'm very focused, very driven, and I must get it done today, must get it done now. And that does detract a little bit from it. And if I was to speak to my younger self, I'd say, look, if it takes...
Chill out, buddy.
Chill out, yeah. If it takes another 6 months or whatever...
Those are his mates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take it easy, mate. That'll be it.
Coming up.
Anything new has critics. If we don't push the norm, we don't end up with anything new.
Peter, a potential game changer for you. Linc recently discovered oil in the outback.
Yes, in Cooper Pedy.
Were you looking?
Well, yes, yeah, we were. It's always been part of the game plan eventually to get there. I mean, you always need a bit of luck, and we bought that asset some years ago, originally for the coal, for our underground coal gasification process, but we also knew there was a very good oil potential as well, and that's why we had the oil leases, the petroleum leases over the top as well. And it really made a lot of sense to have a bit of a look. The rigs will be moving out on site very quickly, and we'll be starting to take the steps to prove it to the next level and then get hydrocarbons to the surface. Once you've done that, you then start to go to the next level. But on oil production, you can move quite quickly. It's one of those things where you can just put it into a tank and start trucking it away. So getting the drill rigs on site, getting hydrocarbons to surface, and then drilling out the size of the resource. So yes, you have, whatever the billions of barrels it is, and really then take the next step to commercial outcomes.
A potential game changer, not just for Linc Energy, but Australia.
It is a game changer. It's massive. It's one of those things that any cheap energy transforms the fortunes of a country.
Is it surprising, though?
I think it's surprising, yes.
Why hasn't anybody found oil before or gone exploring?
Well, we do, and people have. It's just one of those things. You need a bit of luck. You need a lot of perseverance. You need to, a bit of instinct. And it's been overlooked. What happened was there was a resource nearby called the Cooper Basin that was very rich, that Santos developed over the years. This is a sister basin further west-southwest from that area, and it's been overlooked. Basically, that's the reason. And that story can be told many times about resources that have been found whether it be the US or Asia.
Right now, though, your business is about coal, UCG, underground coal gasification.
Yes.
Tell us quickly, briefly, what that's about and why that is key in your business.
Yeah, underground coal gasification actually means the ability to drill deep down into the coal, and you heat the coal up to over 1,000 degrees centigrade. It only takes an hour to do, and then once it's hot, you just pump air down there, and that keeps everything hot. But in a very confined space, high temperature, what happens is the coal converts back to gas. So the carbon turns to carbon monoxide, water turns to hydrogen, and so on. So you end up with a very clean gas that comes out of the pipe. Now, because you've got 1 million tonnes between here and there, you can actually measure how much gas you're going to get out of that, and you can duplicate that multiple times. So you can have 10 wells by whatever and produce enough gas to run Singapore without any problem at all.
This is new, though, right? I mean, not everybody is buying into that story.
No, it's been around a long time. I mean, the gas from UCG has been produced for many years. We've got an operation in Uzbekistan that's been running for 50 years. The Russians developed it into a commercial application 60, 70, 80 years ago.
Why do you have critics then? Why are they non-believers?
Anything new has critics. Anything new has people that want to doubt what isn't the norm. But if we don't push the norm, we don't end up with anything new.
You are moving away from coal more into gas. Why?
Well, it doesn't really fit with the core business. The core business is clean energy, which is UCG, clean gas, or the shale oil and gas. The other division of just straight coal mining doesn't really fit in with that.
What trend do you see in energy consumption being in countries across Asia, including in China?
The obvious trend is gas at the moment, which is pretty self-evident. There's nothing really new out there. There's a lot just past the horizon that's not there yet. You can't really see them, and we've invested in a few of those. But they're still 3 years away from really getting into anywhere near commercial production. Some are 5, some are 10 years away. So right now, as we speak, for the immediate economic future, we are talking oil and gas. The backbone of what's been, industrial man isn't changing. It's just how smart can we get at getting it out of the ground? How smart are we at using it? That's the foreseeable future.
And what's the biggest challenge for you as you make that transition?
Well, the biggest challenge is twofold. I mean, obviously managing all your people in various parts of the globe doing this, and then managing all the governments and regulators while you try to do it. It's never ceased to amaze me how governments try to stop you making their money, but it's a constant challenge to keep all the balls in the air. You really are pushing very hard to make it all work.
Coming up.
If you ever want to get your feet on your ground, you just go back home.
Peter Bond, you love flying, and you started flying 17 years ago. You have several planes, the Citation, Spitfire, Harvard Trainer.
Yeah.
Why do you love flying?
Well, I grew up in the country, and from my backyard I could see, from my front yard actually, I could see an airport, and you just get to fall in love with it. And eventually I decided I wanted to learn to fly, and it was like everything else. I just got in and did it, and over a period of weeks I got my license. I do love it. It's one of those things where you just get away from everything. You're just there by yourself, Flying right on dusk is quite a surreal experience, just your thoughts.
You once flew your jet across Australia using the synthetic oil which Linc Energy produced,
yes,
without even testing it.
Well, we tested it.
That was risky.
Yeah, I drove across using the diesel we produced in a car, which was fantastic, great success. And then I decided, let's just fly the jet back using jet fuel we produced. And so it was just another level of refinement. So it took us a few months, had everything done, great fuel products, had it tested in laboratories in America and Australia. It was all tested and signed off. We flew to Perth drained the tanks, put our new fuel in, all the media were there, taxiing to the runway, and I'm sitting in the co-pilot seat, and I turn to my pilot and go, we never really did test this, did we? Never quite actually got in the air.
Congratulations, you made it.
Yeah, we made it, yeah. It was fantastic. It's an incredible product. The ability to take gas from UCG, the gas we make out of the coal, and then turn it into ultra clean fuel, it's a fantastic success. So.
You like to prove the non-believers, hence you
Yes.
flew that plane, hence you took that car ride,
Yeah.
6,000 kilometers,
Yeah.
something that's never been done before
Yes, yeah, well, I think...
in the world.
If you're going to make a point, make the point, and we did. We proved we can do it, proved it's commercial, and flying a jet, I mean, 40,000 feet, you know, is really, you know, staying true to your promise. We said we'd do it, and we did it.
Your son, your eldest son, is a commercial pilot as well.
He is, yeah, he loves to fly.
Is he going to take over the business?
I think he wants to.
How did you balance your family life and work, knowing full well that you're putting in all the hours?
It's difficult. It's always tough to find the right balance between work and family life and yourself. You do need to find time for yourself, which we all forget. And generally, you always put yourself at the bottom, and it's, you know, work first, and then, you know, kids, and, you know, you're always trying to balance it. And I guess I'd always try to make the weekends for the kids as much as possible, particularly most of Saturdays and Sundays if I could, in terms of just taking him to sport or taking him somewhere or whatever it was.
What's this about an island you own? Dunk?
Dunk Island, yes. In the
You
Great
got it
Barrier
for
Reef.
$7.5 million?
Yeah, about $7.5 million, yeah. It's great. I mean, I bought it very cheaply because the cyclone had gone through and damaged it, and the other people wanted to get out. And it's a great hideaway. It's incredible. It's perfect. It's blue waters, the Great Barrier Reef, and great fishing, and it's quite large. 400-acre farm on it, and it's wonderful.
Are there plans to develop resorts, for instance?
We'll probably do like some 5-6 star villas right on the beach, something really special, and some events like weddings and what have you. But we'll keep it low
And
key.
your son's wedding was held on the island.
Yes.
Give us a sense of how it went, how the celebrations were.
It was
Your Hobbit
one of my planes were over the
trainer
top.
was...
Yeah, doing aerobatics, and we had fireworks, and he got married on the end of the beach, you know, with the water on both sides, and it was a lovely wedding. It was beautiful, and had a couple of hundred guests. So the whole logistics of making it work was quite spectacular in itself. But yeah, it was a lovely wedding.
You're a man of many interests. I mean, you recently started Rough Diamond, a production house.
Yes.
What's the thinking? It's totally different from what you're used to in the mining sector, coal.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Well, I was fortunate enough to do a show called Secret Millionaire, and I like the whole inspiration thing where people, you know, get to hear a story and, you know, pushes their buttons. It makes them want to do something special. And so from that, I sort of started Rough Diamond, and we're putting one series in production now, so that will be showing in Australia soon.
Are you saying that there are not enough good programs on Australian TV in particular? Be careful what you say now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, other than yours. Look, it's one of those things. Yes, I think more family-orientated, inspirational, relevant TV positive TV rather than negative, I guess is what I'm saying.
What's your involvement? Where do you contribute your expertise? How difficult has it been?
Okay, so I obviously fund it. I put the basic team together through another person, through a manager of mine called Chris, and we brainstorm the high-level stuff, and then they go away and do the legwork, I guess, for lack of a better word. And really, and I critique everything that comes through. So once it's been edited, it goes across my desk. I actually do view every single episode.
Retired at 39, unretired 18 months later. Do you see retirement on the horizon, or?
Well,
Doesn't
not
seem
at the
like it,
moment.
right?
No. not at the moment. I've got too much on and too much to get done. I'd like to slow down a bit. I think you actually think better if you can slow down a bit and step back a bit and get a better view. But other than slowing down, no retirement tomorrow.
What about the family, the kids? Are they likely to, I mean, we talked about how your son is hoping to take over the business.
Well,
you have a daughter who's
yeah.
showing great potential as
Yes,
well.
no, I've got 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls, and they all are showing great potential.
28 years of marriage.
Yes, I've been married 28 years, and so the look, I think there's probably at least 3, maybe 4 of them could have some involvement in the business. It's hard to know. I just encourage them to do what they want and do what they love. And my daughter, who's doing law, she's very aggressive, very smart, very switched on and attractive, which always helps. So so it's be interesting to see where she goes. And I've got another daughter the same. She's also very bright, attractive and very switched on. And so I'd like to see, where she wants to go. So I'm very blessed. I have 6 children, and I've got at least a couple of them that I think want to do business. So.
You've had a very successful career, despite all the challenges you face. How does the family view the position you are in society, in business?
Well, as you probably know, most families just treat you as family, and generally dad is sort of,
Doesn't matter that he's quite a celebrity.
He gets kicked around a bit. So if you ever want to get your feet on your ground, you just go back home, because I'll just make sure that your feet are well and truly on the ground. I've got a little 10-year-old daughter who has me wrapped around her finger. So
gets Dad to do just about everything?
Anything she wants, absolutely. So no, I have a joke that's like, mum and then the 6 kids and then the dog, and my little girl actually has a pig, a little pet pig. So I think I'm somewhere below the pig at the moment.
Is the wife in charge at home?
Of course. Well, her and the 10-year-old.
Peter Bond, thank you so much for being on High Flyers. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.